Hi, my name is LaBreeze Higgins. I am a student at Vivian Summers Alternative School. I am telling a story about my life as a teen. 16 years old is where I took a turn on the wrong road. All my life I wanted to be famous, since I was a little girl. When I was born, my mother and father was married, and I had a big sister. Everything was perfect in my eyes until 2001. I was 5 years old, and my parents was getting a divorce. This when all hell broke loose in my family. I was very young, but I wasn't blind. I knew my life was taking a turn into a different world. I barely seen my big sister, and I barely seen my father. My mother decided to move farther south of Chicago, so it made it even more harder to see my father because he lived west of Chicago. In 2006 September, I was in the 3rd grade at Fernwood Grammar School, my first Chicago public school, and this where I began to live my living sin. 2 months in Fernwood, I learned nobody was your friend. You was on your own, and life was starting to get hard. My 4th grade year is when I started to act out. Fighting, cursing, talking back, getting suspended from school, staying in trouble all the time. I was out of control and I didn't understand why. A few years later, I started smoking, hanging with older people in higher grades than me, partying, more fighting, more trouble. I couldn't stop myself because I was starting to enjoy the things that I was doing. It became fun, exciting to me, and I wanted more. By the time my 8th grade year, I was labeled as a troublemaker in my grammar school. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. I was like the top dog in my school. Didn't nobody really mess with me. Was I a bully? No. Was I young and reckless? Yes. At one point, my school thought I needed to be put in a high grove, but my father thought different. He knew I was going through something, but my mother didn't. So she just agreed with what everybody else was saying, except my father. Then my 8th grade year came, and I was getting ready for high school. I was starting a new path in life. No more drama, no more fighting, no more getting into trouble or nothing. My school even said I was maturing and becoming a bigger person. I had everybody looking up to me in a different way than I was at first. My grades came up as high as an airplane in the sky. 2011 came, and it was time for me to get my ribbon pinning, luncheon, and graduation stuff together. February 13, 2011, I was put in a life or death situation. On the west side of Chicago, Illinois, I was laying on the ground with blood all over me. My family was fighting each other like wild animals, and someone threw a chair down a flight of stairs. Guess who it hit? Little old me. Me out of all people, it hit me right in my face, almost caused me to lose my eye, and it almost caused me brain damage. From that day forward, my life was over. Well, at least in my eyes. I had to walk around with a patch on my eye for about 6 months. I missed my eyesight test. I almost missed my ribbon pinning. I had begun to feel very insecure about myself, about my beauty, about a lot of things. Every month I would go through a depressing stage. Life wasn't easy for me through that time period. I didn't even want to go back to school. My friends had all wrote me letters saying that they hope I get well. They miss me, they sorry for what happened to me, etc. But I still wasn't comfortable enough to go back to school until I had a talk with a few people, and I gained the courage to go back to school. Of course, the whole school was in my face, but I kind of felt love a little bit. I did all the things that I was scared that I thought I wasn't going to be able to do. I laughed, I cried, I smiled, but it still didn't cover the way I was feeling. All that year, I wore a bang with every hairstyle I had, only because I was embarrassed of the way I looked. I had over 3 surgeries on my face. I had felt my beauty wasn't natural anymore. I sometimes couldn't bear to look at myself in the mirror. My freshman year of high school wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I made lots of friends, and I started back my old ways again. By you being the new kid in the school, it's a lot of girls that don't like you because how you look or who you kick it with. My first fight was because of the people I kicked it with. 2012, I came and I was once named the troublemaker at Hyde Park High School. I was suspended from school so much I almost didn't pass my freshman year. I was so close to going to summer school, but luckily the type of parents I have take school seriously, so every time I was suspended, my mother went to get my work for me. For a quarter, I passed with all D's and 1C. The summertime came and went. Now it was time for me to start back school, and I was ready. I was on something different this year. No more horse playing or getting distracted from schoolwork. The first month was good for me. I had my mindset right, and I wasn't playing about what I wanted. October came, and that's when everything changed. Me and my friends got into an altercation with some other girl again. One of the girls was on the bus with us, and she was just running off at the mouth, so we all fought her. But I never got a chance to hit her, only because the man jumped out of his car and grabbed me and wouldn't let me go. So the next day came around and we was going to jail for armed robbery and assault battery. During the fight, the girl lost her iPod and cell phone, and they tried to say we took it, but we didn't. She pressed charges on us and we were suspended for 10 days from school. November came and I was beating the case for something that wasn't true. They wouldn't take off the armed robbery, even after she stated that she dropped it and we didn't take it. I felt that was BS, simply because she said that we didn't do it. Then I got into another altercation with a man on a CTA bus. I wasn't charged or caught right then and there. A month later, they came and got me from school because CTA was pressing charges on all the students that was involved in the situation. Now I'm fighting 2 cases at one time. My life couldn't get any better at this point. I was suspended again, and I was going through the process of getting kicked out of Hyde Park High School. My mother and father's sister was disappointed in me. This wasn't something I had planned to happen to me in my life. My life was going all wrong. My doctor suggested that I go see a therapist and talk to them about what I'm going through. My man didn't know what was going on. It was all cloudy. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I had man state that I couldn't care. It wouldn't let me. The year 2012 was the worst year ever, and I was glad it was ending. 2013, I was trying to work hard, so when I got my letter to leave Hyde Park, all my stuff would be up to par. No low grades. By the end of February, I had finally got my letter to leave. The school I was beginning to send to was Vivian Summers, an alternative school for kids who have been kicked out of school. I didn't start school until the middle of March. Before I started school, I had court. I was sentenced to 1 year half of probation and 33 hours community service. After talking to my therapist, Marshall Ward, for about 3 months, my mind was finally opened up. My goal was for my new school was to stay out of trouble, do what you're supposed to do, and get out of that school. My last day in Vivian Summers is June 14, 2013, so I wasn't really in there for very long. My life career is to become an LPN nurse and an RN nurse. I have 2 years left for high school, and I'm going to make them 2 years the best years. I want to be starting my nursing career early. I don't want to wait until I finish high school to start. I want to start now. Life is what you make it. It can be the worst thing ever that God has gave you, or it can be the most beautiful thing ever, only if you wanted to. I had made mistakes in my life that I am working on now. I'm learning more and more each day on how to be a more common person. This is a real life story, and I'm proud to share it.